Thanks very much. Good afternoon. Great to be here with you guys. We've got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to start by comparing some notes with you here a little bit. Because, I've been at this work of leadership development now for 20 years, and I've had the opportunity to work with just about every kind of organization you can imagine, in just about every kind of industry you can imagine, from top to bottom on creating cultures of leadership. So I've been involved not only in the practice of leadership in my own companies and in Tom's company, for example, but I've been involved in the study of leadership, researching about leadership, writing about leadership, speaking about leadership, coaching leadership for 20 years. Cultivating love. Love and business are not two words that we typically utter in the same sentence, right? And we tend to think that, love has got no place there. A lot of people feel this way. And that's why it makes them squirm when I start talking about it. Love's got nothing to do with business. And frankly, that point of view is flat out wrong. At the very least, it's misguided. At the very least, it misses the point. And in fact, what we're going to find is, and I don't expect you to take this at face value. I want to make my case for this, all right? But I think what we're going to find is that not only is this word not inappropriate, love is at the very foundation of leadership. It's at the foundation of any great leadership act, and not only that, it's at the foundation of any great, thriving, competitive business. The problem that we create and the mistake that we often make is we assume that that's enough for people. That because it's important, it should be enough. And it's not. Human beings have a very deep, primal need to be a part of something great. So non-rhetorical question number 2 addresses that directly, and it's some variation on this theme. What do I/we really do here? What's the higher meaning and purpose of our work? There's no magic way to answer this question, but I just want to get you going on the right track. And again, let me be very specific as to what I'm asking you to do here with this question. First step is to take the time that this deserves to really think about this, really reflect on this. And you'll see that it relates to the first question about why you love your work. It relates to your history, how you got to be doing the work that you do. It relates to the people that you work with. It relates to the impact that you think you can have on the world. All that stuff comes into play in trying to answer this question. And I'm asking you to do that just for yourself. Just reflect on it for yourself first. When you think you've really got the answer to that, and this is not about marketing spin. It's not about coming up with the snappy phrase. It's all about the authenticity, the sincerity in this. When you have the real, authentic, sincere answer for yourself, and think about this in the context of your team or your company, whatever context makes sense for you. Once that clarity is there and it's real. So I want to start out by defining the word audacity in the context of extreme leadership. And there are 2 parts to this definition. So first of all, we could say that audacity is a bold and blatant disregard for normal constraints. You know the old management catchphrase that it's important to think outside the box, right? We've heard that one ad nauseum over the years. The audacious approach to this is more along the lines of, what box? There is no box in the audacious mindset. It's the proverbial blank sheet of paper, all possibilities mindset that doesn't get all caught up in all the reasons why something won't work, but instead is filled with the hope and the expectation that we could really do something cool, something significant, and something meaningful if we really put our minds to it. But the problem with this definition, if we were to leave it here, is that it can go either way. Like for example, have you ever known anybody who you would characterize by this definition as audacious, who was, and again I'll be polite here, irritating, annoying, right? There are people who are audacious just to feed their own ego or to attract attention to themselves or to advance their own agenda, and they have no care or concern about the impact of their behaviors on anybody else as long as they're getting the attention. So while technically that might be audacity, it does not qualify for extreme leadership in my book, both literally and figuratively. So what we have to explore here is the motivation behind the bold and blatant disregard for normal constraints. In other words, audacity, bold and blatant disregard for normal constraints in order to do what? If it's in order to feed my own ego, we're not there yet. So what is it? So I want to share with you my answer to this question. I'm not saying it's the only one. But I do think, first of all, it gets us right in the zone as far as extreme leadership goes, and it does give us, I think, the most significant opportunity and perhaps you could even argue obligation that we have as leaders and as human beings in this day and age. So here we go.